day, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the 21st Century Business Podcast. Today, I'm quite excited. I've got somebody very, very colorful and very, very interesting who has done very, very well for himself, not only for himself, but has helped many other people, live their, the life of their dreams in terms of enabling them to be able to earn an income. So as we always say here at the 21st Century Business Podcast, we want to talk to people who are doing incredible things and who are having an incredible impact. So let me welcome Hardus van Pletsen. How are you, Hardus?
I'm really, really well. Thank you, Lonwabo, and thanks for the welcome. Nice to be here today.
Awesome. So how was the holiday?
My holiday was good. We left on the 4th of December. And we went down to St. Francis Bay. We have a holiday home there, and we came back on the 4th of January. So it was a full month away from Johannesburg in the city. And it was nice to be out in the sun. It was nice for the kids to do their thing. It was nice for me to be able to work without being interrupted by people. But we had a spectacular time. Happy to be back, happy to get this year going, happy to be making gangster money this year.
Awesome.
We're ready for it.
Awesome. So for those of you guys who don't know, when he talks about St. Francis, you must know that's where all the rich people go for holiday, right? So, I live not too far from, I come from not too far from St. Francis, that's Port Elizabeth. And I know, all the rich friends I have in PE, they've all got holiday houses there, or they go there on holiday, whatever the case is, So, but before we get into that, tell us about, who Hardus is. And I think one of the issues I really want you to maybe touch into, we live in South Africa, right? You and I don't care about black and white, but the reality of the situation is that a lot of people in South Africa, do care about that. And I think it's mainly the media, the politics, and who are making a bigger issue than what it is. I've got a lot of friends, who. With this notion that if you are white, it means that you come from a rich family and therefore you are rich, right? And you never have to work hard for anything. And I've got friends who have literally proven to me, that that's not always the case, right? I've got a friend, his father used to work for a tire company. And, he was not really educated, but this guy studied, he became a lawyer. Now he runs one of the biggest practices in the Eastern Cape. And, he's done well for himself. And, having worked closely with him, I realized that it's not always the case that because of the skin color that the person is privileged or, they've had everything, handed down to them. So as you are telling us who Hardus is, maybe start from where you were born, how did you grow up, and the kind of work you had to do, to get to where you are today.
Okay, that's an interesting start. So I'm gonna tell you that I grew up in the dust. If I say in the dust, I'm properly saying in the dust. So I'll give you a little bit more information. I grew up in a little town called Rouville in the Southern Free State. My dad was an accountant, and he was the town clerk of this little town. Now, when you're the town clerk of the town, you get paid by the government, and everyone in the town felt that my family worked for them because we were, they could ask for anything because my dad was paid by the government. But in any case, when I say I grew up in the dust, I went to this very small school. I had 12 children in my class. That included me. And I was unlucky or lucky enough that the rich people in the town, those children of those people, they were in my class. So this town only had one doctor. One of those kids were in my class. One attorney, one pharmacist, 3 rich farmers. I think I was about 12 years old when I realized that people looked down on me and my family because we didn't make as much money as they did. Mm. And some of you listening to this podcast and watching me today you'll identify with what I'm saying, because somewhere in your life, people look down on you because of your color, or your race, or your religion, or where you grew up, or the clothes you wear, or where you live,
sure,
or the car that you drive or not. So I guess I was about 12 years old when I decided I want to make a lot of money. so that I can look down on other people.
I always find that interesting. Sure.
That's where I started. So I really grew up in the dust. I mean, I was talking to people this week, and I love my mother to bits, and she's a wonderful woman, but we would wake up in the morning and she'd say, the sun is shining, now leave the house, and I don't want to see you until the sun sets.
Wow.
And we had to go and look after ourselves and keep ourselves busy. I mean, the town is literally, if I say in the dust, even today, there's no traffic light, there's no tar road. I grew up in the dust. And it was great. I had a fantastic time. For high school, I went to an agricultural school because I was going to become a farmer. And somewhere in 1985, I realized, I was about 16 years old, I realized that where I come from, I'll never become rich from farming. And then one night at this boarding house where I stayed, there was a program about the stock market. And on TV, they had this insert of how the stock market was booming. Now, if you're old enough, or you can go and Google it, the stock market was booming from 1983 to 87. In October 87, we had a big crash. So right in the middle of that, one night, I was allowed to watch the news, and there was this insert. And they also spoke about what was the 10 highest paying jobs in the country at that time. And being a stockbroker was number one. So that made me decide, I want to become a stockbroker. I was tired of my father saying to me, find a job, work there for 40 years, and then you retire and die. Because I didn't know anyone who did that, who became rich. So the next morning I went to the tiki box, which is, a telephone where you put coins in if you want to phone someone.
Yeah.
And I had some cattle on the farm. And I said to my dad, please sell some of that cattle, open a trading account in your name, which is what he did. And I had 12,000 Rand together, which I must tell you, 35 odd years ago was an obscene amount of money. You could buy a car cash for that, a nice car. And I walked to town that Sunday because the school where I went to, it was a good 10 kilometers out of town. And I went and bought the newspaper and then came back to my boarding house and went inky pinky ponky. I looked at the share price page in the newspaper and phoned my dad and said, buy these shares. And 2 years later, my 12,000 Rand was worth more than 100,000 and I was rich.
So, but in that process, were you not afraid of losing the money?
I didn't know enough to be scared.
That is interesting.
Yes, I mean, really, let me tell you, I started trading, well, at that time, I'm going to call it investing, or just buying shares. It wasn't even investing because I didn't know anything. I would walk to town once a week on a Sunday. We were not allowed to go to town except for on a Sunday. And then half an hour before church start, the cafe would be open. And then when it's church, it would be closed, and then half an hour afterwards. So I would go and buy the newspaper, and I'd look at the share prices and take a calculator, and I'd have more money than the previous week. Everything was going in my favor. I started trading. After a while, I realized, okay, there was no books about trading at the school library. So I that's a whole story by itself. I wrote letters to publishers in America and said, what books do you have about trading? And then they'd write a letter back and say, these are the books we have. And I'd write another letter and say,
wow,
well, how can I buy these books? And
that must have taken ages, eh?
The
back and forth.
Yeah, it took me a good 3 or 4 months before I would find a book. But I started drawing graphs by hand. I would buy graph paper and take a pencil and an eraser, and once a week I'd look at the prices and I'd draw the graphs, and that's where I started, long before there was even computers.
Wow. Wow. And then you come from this small town in Free State, and then how did you get to Joburg, and how did you then get into the financial services as we know it today?
Okay, so that's a cool question. I started trading, or investing rather, in 1985. I told you I had this money, I bought these shares. In 87, in my matric year, I had all this money. And then in October 87, very close to me writing my final exams, the stock market crashed. And in 2 weeks, I lost half my money.
Wow.
And I suddenly realized that you needed to have knowledge if you want to make money consistently. I then dodged university by telling my dad that I wanted to go to the army, which I did for 2 years. I spent the last 6 months in hospital. I had a motorbike accident, so I crashed and messed up my face a little bit. But I wasn't interested in the army. I was interested in investing and making money from trading. So when I finished the army, I dodged university again by saying to my dad, I wanted to come to Johannesburg and find a job on the stock exchange, which is what I did. I arrived in Joburg in January 1990. It was the first time in my life in such a big city. I rented a room in a house in a commune, and I found a job at the JSE. And 4 years later, I was living, at the age of 23, I was living in a mansion in Bedford View, and I had a convertible Rolls Royce, and I was making 200,000 rand a month.
Okay.
Trading.
Tell me about the job in the JSE. What was your job there, and what are some of the? I mean, you might have learned something there for you to be able to live the life you're just telling us about now.
The very first job I ever found was with a company called Progressive Systems College. They were the first people who taught people about trading in South Africa. So I went and interviewed at this place, saw an ad in the Reader's Digest, and during the interview, the guy said to me, I said, "What will my job be?" And he said, "Well, you'll enroll people on the course." So I thought, okay, people will stand in a queue and I'll help them with the paperwork. And then I said to him, "Well, how much can I earn?" And he said, "Well, you'll make about 2,000 rand a month." And I said to him, "I want this job because I'm making 525 rand a month as a lieutenant in the army." So he turned around and he said to me, "I have to tell you that it's a commission-only job." And I was too embarrassed to say to him, "What does that mean?" So I just said, "Okay." So when I started the job, it took me about 3 weeks to kind of work out I was actually a salesman selling these courses to people to learn to trade. But you know, I was so excited and into the stock market that everything they told me, I just went and did. Like I arrived the first day and they said everyone wants to learn to trade. So that night I drove home and I put petrol in my car and I saw the owner of the filling station and I walked up to him and said, "Have you ever traded?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Why not?" And he said, "I don't have knowledge." And I said, "Well, let me grab my briefcase. I'll show you how you can learn." And I signed up my first student.
Wow.
And I'll never forget my first paycheck in 1990 as a 19-year-old after tax and deduction was 5,150 rand, which was more than double what my dad earned as an accountant in a town
From sales.
From sales.
Very, very powerful.
Absolutely from sales. I mean, I've always made more money than most professional people by far because of sales. So that's where I started. And I never looked back. I've always been involved in teaching people how to trade.
Sure.
That's made me a lot of money. And then eventually our own stockbroking firm because, you know, there's so many poor players out there in the market that we were kind of forced to do that.
Sure.
But that's all I've known my whole life. I've done nothing else.
Sure. So we had a guest here the previous week, and she was telling us about the fact that she attended a stock market college, and that really gave her, the knowledge she needed. Now she works for another broker. She's a business development manager. She had all good things to say about the stock market college, and of which you are the CEO and founder of. So tell us about what you guys do at the stock market college.
Well, what we do is we're the father and the mother of thousands and thousands of people who make their living from trading, from being a mentor, from managing people's money, from working at broking firms. I started Stock Market College originally in 1994. When I was 24 years old, it was a case of I got tired of people asking me how I was making all this money. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to start charging them. I'm not doing this for free.
Sure.
So I had the business for a few years, then sold it and went and lived in Australia for a year, and then came back, worked with a listed company for a few years. And then I restarted Stock Market College in 2002. And it's always been a case of where we want to take people from the very, very basics as absolute beginners and train them step by step, coach them along the way, and turn them into professional traders, people who can either, make money for themselves because that's why they got involved, or people want to pursue it as a career. That's what we do at Stock Market College.
Sure.
We provide people with the knowledge, the tools, the education to go and make a success.
Sure.
If they do their part.
Sure. It must be a fulfilling business. I mean, you guys celebrated recently 20 years, and I like the term you're using, that you are the mother and the father of so many different people who are making a living in the financial services because of what the stock market, provides. So, when you were celebrating the 20 years, I think it was sometime last year.
Yeah.
Looking back, down memory lane, how are you guys feeling about what you guys have accomplished thus far?
Look, we're really happy about how far along we've come. I think in South Africa, for a business to get to a 20-year birthday, anniversary, whatever you want to call it, in the education industry is really cool.
Sure.
But for us, it's really the start. What's absolutely quite amazing is COVID's changed us as a business. Before COVID happened, we had this huge campus. We had 500 students on average a day at the campus. Our biggest lecture room took 186 people. COVID's changed all of that. People want to learn online. People don't want to drive places anymore. People want to have education available 24 hours a day wherever it suits them. So COVID's done us those kind of favors. But I'm telling you this because I want to tell you that we are now selling our product. We are now finding students coming online, signing up with our business from all over the world. We send out, we've got this WhatsApp channel that works exceptionally well with communication with students. Before, we always struggled to phone people and speak to them because no one wants to answer their phone. People don't look at their SMSs anymore. People definitely don't read emails like they used to. I'm one of those that have 500 SMSs outstanding and 6,000 emails, and I only answer my phone because I'm in business. But if you see now, on a daily basis, we're getting people signing up. We had a student from Guatemala yesterday. Wow. We have people from India enrolling on the course, the United States, Holland, United Arab Emirates. A higher and higher and higher percentage of our students are starting to come from outside of South Africa.
Wow. This is impressive.
Yeah.
So it means stock market coach has gone global.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what made us go global. About a year ago, this is so cool to talk about. We live in South Africa.
Sure.
I don't know about you and the viewers that we have, but we all know that our government's really poor.
Sure.
We as South Africans have to make things happen for ourselves. We're not going to get help from anywhere else.
Sure.
So what COVID did is it enabled us to start, because we went online, it enabled us to start enrolling people from all over the world. And then something interesting happened. We got people saying to us, but what is this Rand thing? How am I going to, my school fees for this course? What is Rands? What is Rands? Because now, I'm getting someone from the UK signing up, and someone from Kenya, and someone from Nigeria, and another person from Mauritius. So we turned around and said, well, our students actually said, why don't you put your course fees in US dollars so that we all can understand exactly how it works?
Sure.
So what we did a year ago, we registered a company in America. We called it Stock Market College. We opened a bank account. We got all the facilities in place. And from July last year, all our students are exclusively becoming students of our American business, where their school fees are in US dollars. And that's allowed us to expand all over the world. And now it's just picking up momentum.
Wow.
If we look at the success we've made in 20 years here, imagine you're fishing in a little pond and suddenly the the ocean is available to you.
Sure.
So we're excited. We think the next 20 years are going to be
Yeah, no,
smashing.
it really sounds exciting. Now, so from what I hear and I understand about the stock market college is that you literally provide opportunities in two ways, but we haven't spoken about the second way. The first way is you educate people about the financial markets. They can
Yes.
trade for themselves, or they can find other opportunities within the financial services. But that's one side. But then you've also recently created another opportunity for people. I like the fact that you were talking about the fact that from the sales you made, you were earning 2 times what your father was earning, who was an accountant, right?
Yes.
Very, very important, guys, to understand sales. There's money there. So now you've also got the affiliate model as well.
Yes.
And I hear that you've been having some good successes there. People are making money. The business is growing. So can you tell us more about that particular opportunity? So if someone is sitting at home, thinking, I'm not really good at trading, or maybe I don't even have the money to trade, whatever the case is, but I'm more inclined into the sales environment, how does that work, and how can one, be part of that?
Okay. So I'm going to give you a longer answer because I think
Sure.
that'll make sense for people watching and listening to the podcast. So I've now already explained that we've been in business for 20 odd years. And the biggest challenge for an education business, it doesn't matter if it's us or if it's a university or if it's Damlin or anyone else, is you obviously have to spend money on marketing, finding students, making them aware that you are in business.
Sure.
So that they can consider you as an option. So over the last few years, we've spent obscene amounts of money on Google advertising, Facebook, Instagram. When I say obscene amount of money, I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rands in a single month. And, sometimes it generates fantastic interest with the right kind of people that we wanted students, and other times it doesn't. So our affiliate program actually started by, I'm going to say by accident. We got lucky. I had a guy called Dumasani phone me one night from Richards Bay, and he said, listen, I heard about your college. How do I sign up? So I explained a bit to him, and I said, look, there's this lady, Tracy Senene. She can help you, and she can do the paperwork. And she sent him an email, and he concluded all the paperwork, and he became a student. And he started trading. And he started doing really, really well. And then he phoned me back and he said, you know what, I'm in Richards Bay. Why don't you send someone here and come and do a presentation for us? There's other people that see the money that I make and they would like to find out more. So we said, no problem. We popped old Tracy on a little aeroplane. She flew directly to Richards Bay. He fetched her at the airport. We rented an auditorium from the municipality and he had about 50 odd people attend. And after that presentation, she enrolled 32 of the 50 odd people that attended. Because people are hungry for knowledge. People are hungry for taking charge of their own money. People are tired of being ripped off by scamsters.
Sure.
You go on to Instagram and you see all these people who pretend to have a success and what they've achieved, and they say to people, give your money to us, and then they run away with it. So Tracy signed up 32 people, and it was obviously great. Dumasani then phoned me and said, Hardus, we've been so successful. I just want to finalize. What is the commission you're paying me?
He says, after people have signed up.
After people have signed up. So I said to him, hang on, Dumasani, I'm a bit confused. I mean, we've done all this work. We've sent someone there. Why would we pay you commission? And he said something really, really interesting. He said to me, Hardus, if I didn't get these people together, you never would have had them as clients.
Sure.
How else would you have found these people? And that made sense to me. And I said to him, you know what, on the spur of the moment, I said, you know what, Dumasani, we're going to pay you 25% commission of all school fees because that's well within our marketing budget.
Sure.
And you can imagine on 32 new students, it was a nice, tidy sum of money.
Sure.
So Tracy was booked into the hotel for the night. And she phoned me after a while and she said, listen, I'm really hungry, but I can't go anywhere. And I said, what do you mean? said, well, people are knocking on the hotel, coming to the reception wanting to see me because some of the people that Dumasani brought and signed up, they found out that we paid him commission.
Wow.
Now they're inviting other people because they're saying, well, if you can pay commission to Dumasani, why can't you pay commission to us?
Sure. Yep. Interesting. I would have asked the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was how our affiliate program was born. I mean, we spend 50% of all student fees on marketing. And we thought, okay, here's a good opportunity. Rather than making, what's his name, Zuckerberg rich, let's rather share that money with our existing clients. Because when an existing client brings us a student, the person already knows about our business. They know the credibility. They are more the kind of person that we'd like as a student.
Sure.
They're pre-qualified because they are friends of or known to someone who's already a client of ours, which means that they move in the right kind of circle.
Sure.
So when this really started taking off, we said, okay, now we've got to make it a professional thing. So we put together an affiliate agreement so that anyone who becomes our affiliate understands what are the terms and conditions. You promise to do this, we promise to do that. We have a professional business relationship.
Sure.
Then we put together an online management system where you could see who signs up and when did they sign up and what do they pay. And I think what makes a big difference is we also pay our affiliates commissions on all recurring fees. So if someone does not pay up front for our course, they make this investment on a monthly basis. The affiliate also receives commissions monthly. So, we needed a system for them to track this and say, I know when I'm going to get my money. I know how much it's going to be. I know where it's coming from. And it's boomed. This is, I think, the major reason why we're getting clients from all over the world, because we provide our affiliates with the tools, approved marketing material. It's now easy for someone to say, I put something on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever, and I drive traffic to Stock Market College of the kind of traffic that are people that say, I want to learn to trade. I want to make more money from a business on a part-time basis. But yeah, we are excited that we'll get to the point where we'll be enrolling thousands of new clients and students on a monthly basis.
I can see why that's going to happen. So if I'm understanding you correctly, this is really like a very powerful win situation here, because I'm a student of the Stock Market College, but I don't have to wait for me to master trading, because like anything you learn, right, you're not going to get it right the first time. Okay, it's gonna take time, like anything else in life. So, but whilst I'm learning, I can also start earning as an affiliate.
Yes.
Now, do I have to pay money to be an affiliate, or does it happen automatically?
So that's such an interesting question. I mean, it makes me smile. So what we did when we started this whole thing, we said, we are not going to charge people a fee to be an affiliate. When they enroll on the course, we make this opportunity to them available, and they can choose if they want to do it or not. No one's forced to be an affiliate. There are people who genuinely just want to learn to trade, and they have no interest in referring someone to us.
Sure.
And then there are other people that are interested in referring a few people, who then refer a few people, so it's financially viable for them. But I mean, I'm giving you the long answer because something really interesting happened. We are now finding that we have people approaching us who are so interested in the business opportunity because they see that there are people now making 10 and 20 and 50 and 100,000 Rand a month in commissions.
Wow.
So they're not that interested in trading. So what's important to us as a business is we've said we want our brand to be represented properly.
Sure.
So we'd like people who want to be affiliates. They need to know what they're doing.
Sure.
So we've now set up our system where you enroll on the course, and then you have the affiliate opportunity available. And then we used to say, okay, well, you have to enroll in the course to become an affiliate. And that didn't sound and work so well. So we've changed things now and said, look, for the same fee that you sign up to be a student of the course, you can buy into the affiliate opportunity. Mm-hmm. But we're giving you the course then thrown into the deal
Sure.
for free. So it's just how you say it. It's the same thing.
Sure.
If you sign up for the course, you have the opportunity to be an affiliate. If you sign up as an affiliate, you have the opportunity to learn to trade. It's the same thing.
Sure.
It's just some people are a lot more excited about the business opportunity and all the money that they can make. And some people are more excited about trading and learning to trade. And then there's obviously a batch of people in the middle. So in this way, we accommodate everyone without anyone feeling
Sure.
I'm forced to do the one or the other.
Sure. I am in one of the WhatsApp group. I must say, guys, the support that's there is really phenomenal. If you do become an affiliate, one thing that I do know for sure is that, the support is there, for people who want to grow their business as affiliates. I like the fact that you say that there's people earning, 100,000. So guys, I don't know about you, but 100,000 is a lot of money. And so if being an affiliate is something that you are looking at or want to learn to trade, we are going to put all the details in the description below. Please do make sure that you actually click on the link and sign up to be an affiliate. We're going to also put a full presentation of what the stock market college is all about. You're also going to learn about quick trade. Maybe before we close it off, we're going to talk briefly about what quick trade is, why quick trade was actually created after the stock market college. But all the information, guys, also the links to follow for the stock market college, social media platforms, they're all going to be in the description below. So make sure that you check that out. So before we close, Hardus, I really had fun in this interview. Tell us about about quick trade. I hear you guys are one of the few companies who've got this ODP license. You know that there's quite a lot of unscrupulous characters, who pretend to be brokers or who are brokers, but then they're not fully licensed and stuff like that. But I hear you guys stand head above shoulders. So tell me about a quick trade.
Okay, so let me give you the basics. 10, 12, somewhere in 2008, we were enrolling all these people on the course, and then we suddenly realized and said, we're signing up people and giving them education, but we're not helping them to recover the investment they've made. I mean, when you go to university and you study to be a doctor, you go and practice as a doctor so that you justify the varsity fees.
Sure.
And you can now say, I've got the skill and this knowledge, and look at what it's done for me. So we used to just enroll people on the course. And then we made a conscious decision to say, every person that enrolls in the course, we need to refer this person to a broker.
Sure.
So that they can open a trading account, deposit money, start trading, make some profits to justify the time and money and energy that they've spent on the course. And that's where our problem started. We suddenly realized that people in the financial services industry are not that upstanding and not that credible, or,
Sure.
or nowhere near what we thought they should be.
Sure.
So the first broker, we became an introducing broker, which means that we introduced people to a broker and they would pay us commission for that. So the first broker we used, we gave them like 2,000 odd clients and they cheated us with money. Didn't pay us a cent. The next broker, the service to our clients was so poor that the clients got angry with us. So we moved to the next broker. It was a listed company. We gave them a few thousand clients, and then they said, well, we're only interested in the big ones. We don't want the rats and mice, as they called it.
Wow.
So eventually, after 6 or 7 or even 8 failed attempts at finding someone decent, we decided in 2014 to start our own broking firm so that we can control the service and the quality and the experience that our clients receive.
Sure.
And I have to tell you, we are really proud. People are calling us a premium broker. We are not like the riff-raff and the rubbish that's out there. We're properly licensed since 2014 as a financial services provider. But in 2019, the laws changed. And if you're in our space as a broker, you've got to be licensed as an over-the-counter derivatives provider. So we lodged that application, and it took a good 2.5 years for the FSCA to process it. And on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day 2022, we got our license. And since we got our license, 2 or 3 brokers have been closed down because they are operating unlicensed illegally. And there are a few others that are being investigated by the FSCA. But it's a difficult situation for us because here we are, we're complying with every single thing that we can, and we are competing against people that don't have those restrictions.
Sure.
And you know, the South African public is an interesting set of individuals. People don't seem to care.
Until they lose their money.
Of course, but then it's too late.
Yep.
So that's been challenging for us, is to educate people and make sure that they understand what are the risks that they run if they deal with a broker that's not properly licensed.
Sure.
But yeah, we've been, since 2014, we've been running Quick Trade. It's going from strength to strength. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of clients. I think what's happening now, it's just exactly as the stock market college business. On a daily basis, our percentage of new clients are growing, higher percentages of clients outside of the borders of South Africa, which is ultimately what we want. We'd like to expand our business worldwide.
Sure.
And it's getting there.
Wow. So guys, there you have it from Mr. Hardus van Pletsen, who is the CEO of Stock Market College and Quick Trade. Like I said, we're going to put all the information in the description so that you can get in touch. We'll also put in his number. I know he doesn't mind. We'll put his number as well there so you can get in touch with him. Make sure that you also follow, they've got a very active social media pages. Make sure that you follow them as well so that you can keep abreast of what is happening in the industry. Hardus, thank you so much for joining us today. Maybe in closing, I'm saying this in closing now for the second time, but maybe in closing, what will it take for, or maybe let me rather put it this way, what would be your parting message to a young South African out there who's been looking at different ways of earning an income and is looking at people earning money through the Forex market and wants to get involved into the space? What would be I know you've got a lot to say as far as that is concerned, but what would be your word of advice, for such a young person?
I'm going to say that education is key. And applied knowledge is the key. What I see on a daily basis is people hear that you can make money from trading and they go and try it and they lose their money.
Sure.
And all it does is it gives the whole industry a bad name.
Sure.
That's not good. I wish I could make sure that every single person who listens to this understands that it's like anything else in life. If I'm learning how to drive a car or learning how to swim or studying to be a doctor or whatever, if I don't have the right education, I cannot expect to be successful consistently.
Sure.
So that's the first thing that I'd love to change. Yes. Then the second thing is, when you do business with credible people. Don't open a trading account with an unlicensed broker. You're causing problems for yourself down the line.
Sure.
Do things right. I said it earlier, and I want to also, I'm going to say it again. We live in South Africa. No one's looking after you and me.
Sure.
If we don't look after ourselves, we're going to have problems. So here is an opportunity for people to get the knowledge and to get the tools to make a success. And that's the best thing about trading. Trading doesn't care if you're black or white.
Sure.
Trading doesn't care if you're rich or poor. Trading doesn't care if you went to a school in the Free State in the dust like I did, or if you went to a private school here in Joburg where the fees are
yeah, the fees
more than what my father earned in a year. Trading is I'm looking for the right English word. It's an equalizer.
Sure.
Everyone can start at the same place.
Sure.
And you can make a success if you do it right. So I guess maybe that's the most important thing to say. It's an equalizer.
Wow.
You have the same opportunity than everyone else.
Wow.
And that's the part that I like.
Guys, there you have it. Trading is an equalizer. And you want to make sure that you're dealing with the right and credible people who are fully licensed. And you want to make sure that you get the proper education And that is what Stock Market College provides. Thank you very much, Hardus. Guys, if you found value in this podcast, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you click on the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do release new videos. We are going to have Hardus hopefully in the near future again. Maybe go a little bit more in depth into the Stock Market College, which really, really fascinates me. I'm not sure whether it's because I'm a salesperson or not, but it really fascinates me. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Hardus, and have a great evening. Cheers.